Hello everyone and welcome to the online Thriller Fest. We were hoping all of us to be there this year, but unfortunately COVID had other plans. And so here we are recording a little video for you, which we hope will make you laugh and inspire you. So I shall introduce you to my fellow panelists, Jennifer Hillier, Heather Gudenkauf and Kimberly Bell. Jennifer, you're on my top left, so why don't you take it away?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Hillier, and I am the author of 6 psychological thrillers, and my latest is Little Secrets.
Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Gudenkauf. I'm the author of 8 novels, and This Is How I Lied is my most recent one.
And Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly Bell, and I'm the author of Stranger in the Lake, which comes out June 9th. It is my 6th domestic suspense.
And I'm the baby author in the group, I guess, because this is my 4th book, Sister Dear, and it publishes, well, by the time you watch this, it will already be out, published on May 26th. All right, so we got together and we thought, what could we chat about that might be interesting for you? So we figured we do 3 things: the best writing advice, I should say, that you've ever received. So let's start with Kimberly. What's the best writing advice you've ever received?
So I actually got this tip from J.T. Ellison, who got it from Stuart Woods. We were talking about her latest book, Good Girls Lie, and I was raving about how great it was. And I said, how did you do all these things? I had a long list of questions. And she said, the only rules are those you create page by page, which I love because, you know, we always talk about like, you know, whether or not you can break rules. There's a long list of things you should and shouldn't do. But JT and Stuart said, you know, just do it. And if you can make it work on the page, then you don't have to worry about it. So
Love that. Break the rules. Quite right too. Wonderful. And Heather.
My best advice I got from Anne Lamott's book, Bird by Bird. It's one of my favorite go-to writing manuals. And one piece of advice that she wrote about that really struck me was, you know, when we sit in front, especially when beginning a project, it can be so overwhelming. And you have all these ideas, but you aren't sure how to put them all together. And so she suggests looking at your project through a one-inch picture frame and only focus on what's within that 1-inch picture frame, write about that, and then you'll keep moving forward. And so I went as far as to actually get a little 1-inch picture frame and just put a little ribbon on it, and it sits by my desk. So whenever I get that feeling of, oh my goodness, you know, how am I going to get started? I'm kind of stuck. I take my scene, think about my 1-inch picture frame, and it does tend to help me. So I'd say that's my best advice.
I love that. I love that you have the little frame as well. That's so neat. That's wonderful. Thank you. Jennifer, what was your best writing tip?
My best writing tip came before I was probably prepared to understand what it meant, but it was learn what feedback to ignore. And I was in a writer's workshop way back when I was a baby writer 10 years ago. And we were workshopping our stuff, and there was a lot of input coming in about, you know, what people liked and didn't like about everyone else's work. And it's a lot of noise. And if you try to make everybody happy, you'll end up with something that you probably didn't ever want to write, and not in a good way, because it kind of dilutes it. So one of the things I remember is stay open to feedback, but also be comfortable with ignoring some of it, because not all of it is going to work for you. But that, I think, comes over time. I don't know that you can do that when you're brand new and you're not sure what to listen to. But after a couple of books, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that doesn't fit. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that out and ignore that.
Did you find that too, Kimberly and Heather, that you, as your writing career advanced, that you would pick and choose the feedback that you would listen to or disregard?
definitely. And, you know, I've also learned that if I don't agree with it, I kind of file it away in my head. And if I hear it multiple times, then I think, well, maybe that's something that I need to pay a little more attention to. But, you know, I think as you get more words under your belt, you understand a little bit more, you know, what works and what doesn't work for your story. So.
Yes, and for me too, and knowing who your trusted early readers are, and maybe scaling those back a little bit. I've learned to kind of keep my projects a little closer to the vest now, and knowing that when I do get feedback, definitely you can take it or leave it. Ultimately, it's our story. It's our story to tell, and we know our characters best, and so we have to really listen to that inner guide on what stays and what goes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I think the best writing advice I received, or one of them, was to, if I get stuck, just to skip that scene or that part and move to a part of the book where I know stuff is going to happen. So I plot, so that's less of an issue now. But that was quite enlightening, I have to say. I thought, what, I can do that? I don't have to write the book in order? Really? This is witchcraft.
That's a good one too, though, because I didn't learn that right away either. I would like stress over one spot forever, and then you're not making any progress, and then you're kind of getting panicky about it, which makes it worse. So that's a good one, because
I can't
look, you write around it, right? And you come back
Yes.
to it later.
You can't do that, Kimberly?
do that. I can like sketch it out at least, and kind of like get it out onto paper and then not make it pretty and move on. But I can't just skip it and go to something else. My brain, I don't know,
It won't let you. Yeah.
What do you do, Heather? Do you skip, or do you?
I do skip, and every project's different, but I've found that I'll put placeholders in, like come back to, or ask one of my research people who help me, that I ask to help me with some things that I don't know about, like the police procedural. So I'll say, ask Mark about this because he knows police things, and so I'll put placeholders, but I skip too, and then when I'm less tired or in a better frame of mind, I'll come back to it.
Yes, I do that for sex scenes as well, because you've got to be in the mood, right?
those are the worst, right?
Let's move on, quick. Okay, so we did the best writing advice you've ever received. So now I'm curious about the worst. What's the worst writing advice? Because there is some out there that you've ever received. Who would like to kick that one off?
I'll go. My worst writing advice came in that same workshop 10 years ago, where one of the students said, your female protagonist is not likable. You should make her likable. Because she was a woman who was a sex addict, and she was cheating on her fiance, which I get doesn't maybe make her the best morally sound person, but I thought she was interesting. And so the feedback that I got was, she's not likable, and nobody would ever read about her. And so I then took that to heart, and I redid the whole first half of the book to make her as likable as possible. And when I sent that version out, trying to publish or trying to an agent, everyone, the feedback was, this is kind of dull, it's bland, I stopped reading after 20, 30, 50 pages. And then I finally decided, you know what, maybe that is not the way to go here. Maybe what matters most is to make her interesting. And so I went back to an earlier draft and then sent that out, and then I got an agent. So so the whole likable female thing, I think that was probably the worst advice that I got.
Mm-hmm.
And you write great unlikable characters too. They're awesome, and you like them because they're unlikable.
I
Make
feel
them interesting.
Yeah, I think when I write, and I'm sure you guys are the same, I just shut out all the critics. Like, there's a point where you're writing and it's a brand new story and you can't imagine what everyone is thinking. And if I think about my mom when I'm writing, forget about it, dead. So I pretend everybody that I care about is never going to read this, and then I write it. And they are unlikable, but I also think they're relatable. And I will scale it back a little bit if I come back to it in a later draft and be like, wow, she really is awful, does she have any redeeming qualities that I can mention? But I think interesting is a more fun book to read than likable.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, Heather, how about you?
Oh, I think for me, we write dark and mysterious, but I've gotten feedback over the years about maybe some of the language that I choose to use in a book, or, some words that are kind of inflammatory that, I wouldn't say in my everyday life, but my characters would. And so when I get feedback on, the language or some of the subject matter is too much. And I always, I don't necessarily defend myself, but when we do, get into a conversation about it, I want to talk about, that's what the character would say. That's what the character would do. And I want to be authentic to the character and be realistic as well. So, there's always people who are going to love your books and always people who will not. And not every book is for everybody. So for me, my go-to is I want to write the book that I want to read. And so I try to keep that in mind as I move forward.
Have you had feedback like that as well, Kimberly, about language? And I know you have, Jennifer. I know.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time, all the time. And I actually joke that, I need to start cussing on page 1 so that at least when they're in the store and they open it up, they know what they're getting into. Yeah.
I've heard I can get away with it more if I'm reading it because of the accent in North America, but I've had a couple of complaints as well, and I know Jennifer has too, haven't you? You've had murder's fine, but swearing is not.
Yeah, violence is okay, and graphic sex is fine too, but don't drop any F-bombs. That's offensive.
which is an interesting perspective.
And that never stops. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Very odd.
Yeah.
And Kimberly, worst advice you've had?
So my worst advice kind of sort of came from myself. If you're on Twitter and you follow all these writers, you'll see, I wrote 4,000 words today, 5,000 words, whatever. And so at one point I decided I wanted to learn how to write faster because I'm just not that fast. If I hit 1,000 words in a day, that's a really good day for me. So I started reading all these methods to, I think there was a book about writing 10,000 words in a day. And so I tried that. I did the whole, I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically it was just, you just barf them all out and you don't go back, not even to correct a typo, but you just keep going. But what I discovered was my brain just doesn't work that way. And I need the time, my writing time, most of my writing time is not actually typing words. It's thinking about how this scene needs to happen and what's going to happen. So my crappiest writing advice was telling myself I needed to write faster, while I just needed to just accept that my method is my method. And if that's slow, then it is.
Mm-hmm. I remember reading, I think it was Roz, I'm pretty sure it was Roz Ney, who said that she puts blinkers on so that she's not seeing what other people are doing because what they're doing doesn't necessarily work for her. So just put those on and use your method that works and play around with that and figure out what works. But that's really good, bad advice. Does that make sense? The one, I think my favorite bad advice was write what you know. Because if I did write what I know, I'd write about IT recruitment and living in Switzerland. Yay, and that's fun. But I thought that was very interesting that I should write what I know, because I write about people who die and infidelity and all kinds of stuff. And I hope people don't think that I write what I know, because that would make me very unlikable. So, and we wouldn't want that, of course. It's strange. Okay, so let's have a fun one. Well, not that those weren't fun, they were, obviously. But let's chat about our writing quirks, our quirky writing habits. So the strange stuff we do. Who would like to kick that one off?
I can. Okay, no, go ahead.
So mine isn't, I don't know if it's quirky. It is weird. My people in my house look at me funny, but I'm always moving around. I'm a very restless rider. I take a laptop and I travel around the house. I'm always bouncing from room to room. I have like a study area. I'm in the couch. I'm, outside on the patio. I'm always moving around, and I talk and make faces as I'm writing. I'm like reading it and acting it out kind of stuff. So that's why I can't write in like a coffee shop, because I would look like a fool.
And you just wander around talking to yourself. I love that. But like you said, because it goes back to plotting or discovering what's happening in the story, and then going to write. So you act it out and then go and write what you've decided. I love that. That's so interesting. How about you, Heather? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Or weird.
Weird.
I do. Well, for me, I have to have noise while I'm writing. I cannot write in silence. I can't do it. I can't do it. So I will have music going on, or I like to go to coffee shops when they're open to write, because I don't mind the background noise, and or I'll even have like a TV off in the distance. I just like to have that chatter behind me. And so lots of times even when I'm working on a book, if I'm working on a perspective for a certain character, I'll play the music that I think that character would like. So like Nola from my most recent novel is very unique character. She would listen to like metal rock and classical music, so both. So, it just kind of helps me get in the frame of writing. But yeah, I have to have noise. Have to.
That's fascinating. Noise or silence for you, Jennifer and Kimberly? What do you need?
Silence.
Yeah.
And an empty house.
Yeah. Oh.
And no COVID, please, preferably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer silence too. If I listen to music, it has to be instrumental. So I still occasionally play the Tomb Raider game from way back when, and I have the music for that, and it's lovely, and I'll put that on, but it has to be very soft, and there cannot be lyrics. If there are lyrics, I'll listen to the lyrics, and then I can't write. That's that you have a TV show on. That's crazy. I don't know.
I'm not paying attention, but I just like that. I don't know, the chatter behind.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I think it was from writing when my kids were so little, and there's always something going on when the kids were little, and you just kind of fought through it, and it stuck with me.
That's hilarious. Wow. And Jennifer, quirks?
I can't write on a full stomach. I have to be hungry.
That is funny.
I don't know if it's because I reward myself with food when I'm done, and I tell myself, if you get your words in, you can go eat, right? And so maybe it creates a sense of urgency. But if I break in the middle of a writing session to go have something to eat, because let's say it's dinner time, or I end up eating something that my husband is making at that time, I'm done for the day, because I'm full and I'm sated and I've lost my mojo to write. So I write hungry all the time, and so
that sounds so cruel.
I'm going to start trying that.
Yeah.
And I hold my pee. I do that. I'm not allowed to go pee either. So then there's a no physical thing addressed until I'm done writing.
Writers are weird.
Yeah.
I think my quirk is I have to have a tidy desk, and that stems from ages ago. But if it's cluttered, I find my mind's cluttered, and I can't write. And it's also great for procrastinating, because look, my desk is untidy. I must tidy it. I can't write until it's tidy. So there's a bit of that in there as well. It's so weird. And I sit in an office where I'm now. And Rob, my husband, his desk is opposite mine, and his is really cluttered, and I can't look at it. I just ignore it, because
I'm so glad you can't see my desk right now. It's just like, I'm so ashamed.
Oh, there's no shame here.
Absolutely none. Absolutely none.
I mean, you would be amazed if I picked up what's on my desk to show you.
Oh, give us a clue.
How
Go
did I
on.
get here?
Show us something. Go on.
Okay.
That was-
Well, this isn't too bad, but I do have a pair of socks on my desk, but it's for a giveaway, so I have that excuse.
Well, at least they're clean. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
And new.
and new. Yeah, writers are quirky.
Weird.
All right, so this is our little video for Thriller Fest, and we wish we were there in person. Any last words for viewers? Anything? Any last words? It sounds like we're all dying. That's not what I meant. But any last
Hopefully we'll see everybody next year, and you know, things will be back to normal, and we can see everybody in person and catch up, and just everybody stay well and stay safe.
Yeah. Same. What
Stay
she
well and stay safe and read lots of books while you're home.
Yes, read lots of books, because books are ace, and you can go anywhere you want. You might not be able to travel right now, but you can if you open a book.
That's right.
On that note, thank you so much, Heather, Kimberly, and Jennifer. It's been lovely chatting with you. I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.